Someone asked me about death, dying, and grief, which is great timing because today is my dad's birthday and he passed away in 2020. My perspective on death and dying and grief is death and dying is what man has called it and what man has said it is, right? It's the end of their life. They're gone. You won't see them again. Or if you're a Christian, you'll see them again in glory, right? When you get to the other side in heaven. But honestly, we do not die. This is why I don't do posts like happy heavenly birthday, because you don't know if they're in heaven. None of us know where they are. But one thing I do know is the week of his death, well, when we were planning the funeral, that week of course, I was all over the place, planning, doing all the things. And then I would have moments. And there was always some kind of sign that he still existed, that his energy, his essence, his presence was still alive. His cell phone, I know, and it's documented, we had the service turned off, consumer cellular for elderly, we had it cut off, shut off, disconnected. It was laying on the counter. I was going through a moment and that phone just lit up like a white light, like it turned on by itself. And then, of course, I started bawling. And then as I began to calm down, the light faded and then it went away. Or there's a video on YouTube where I talk about all the different signs, and then I would see his truck at a moment where I needed to see it. And that would happen a lot at first. But as I began to move on with life, I didn't see them anymore. And now I see them every now and then. And it's during happy times. Like if I'm celebrating something, I'll see the specific truck he used to drive. He used to drive for grocery supply and different things. I would see it. I'd be like, hey, Daddy. It's like, to me, those are signs that this person still exists. There is no death. But we've been conditioned to grieve and to mourn in such a way that we really need to get clarity about it. First of all, when we come here, we're not here to belong to each other, but we have this sense of entitlement, like that's my mom, that's my dad, that's my son, that's my this. And this is why parents and grandparents get upset with the kids when they don't follow the plan that they have for them, or they follow some journey or some path that they don't want them to follow. But we don't belong to you all. Our parents, and just like I'm a parent, I was just a vehicle to get my child here. It's up to them to live the life that they're going to live. Oh, and I also remember when he transitioned in 2020, it's now 2025. When I see the signs, it's like he's checking in from wherever he is, and he goes off and does whatever he's doing, and then I get a little check-in. But back to what I was saying, we are here for our own purpose and our own reason. My mother, she's still here on this side. If I get a call that says she's gone and she's transitioned, I'm not going to freak out. And I know some people don't understand that, and they'll say things like, oh, well, everybody grieves differently. Well, sometimes we grieve because of the way we've been conditioned to grieve and to understand relationships with each other. This is going to be sensitive to people. It may trigger people, but this is my answer. And so if I get the call, yes, she's my mother. I'll remember the things that she's taught me, the things that she says, the funny things, all the things about her, but I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not going to lose my mind and try to climb into the coffin with her, because I understand that we are all energy and we're all here for a purpose. And she has decided that it's time for her to go. It's her time to go. And I need to celebrate and honor her presence here that was on this side, and honor that it's time, that she transitions. And yes, I do understand it also depends on the relationships. That's why with my dad, he became like my best buddy, my best friend. I was his POA. We had grown closer to each other after not being in, that type of relationship growing up. So yes, it was much more, a lot of tears and crying and grieving because I just missed him, right? But it wasn't to the point where I'm devastated. I can't move on. I can't go to work. I celebrated more of just the fact that I had time with him. We had a great relationship, and the grieving was just simply because I missed the man. But it wasn't such a devastating loss that I can't go on. That's the unhealthy part that we've been conditioned to do. And there are some people that have lost their parents, and it's been 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And when they grieve, I'm talking about 30 years ago, they go get drunk and they just plaster the whole day away. I just missed my mama. I don't agree with that. I'm be honest with you. It's been 30 years and you're going to get drunk and plastered to where you can't even go to work because you're grieving your parents or your mom's death. And it also depends on your religious belief. Where do you stand religiously? Do you believe that you're going to see them again when you get to the other side because you're a Christian or whatever it is. People are afraid to even let go of religion, even though they know it's not working for them, because they're like, well, then what about my mama? I was promised that I would see my mama again. I was promised I would see my daddy again on the other side. That's why I'm holding on to this religious faith that's not doing anything for me. However, you don't know what's on the other side. Nobody knows what's on the other side. Evolving spiritually and as a person helps me deal with grief, dying, and death. Because when I was a Christian, it's like, it seems like it's worse when you're in religion. Like they say, oh, you have the comfort of seeing them on the other side. But then why are the funerals so sad? Yes, they have this jubilee music and you play, but everybody's so sad and everybody's so down. I don't know, in other countries, like they celebrate and they're happy and they're, glad that this person has taken this passage. You see all the different perspectives. Some people are just, oh my God, it's so devastating. Yet they're Christians and there's a promise to see them on the other side. Yes, you're going to miss your loved ones. I get that part. I'm talking about when it takes you to the place where you've got to get on medication. You can't function. And it's been weeks and months and years and years and years. I'm just telling you, when you evolve spiritually and you realize that that's not your mother, that's not your father. Those are man-made things that have been set in place, that's your cousin, that's your this, and you need to feel like this, and you're supposed to feel like that. You're supposed to be doing that. That's your cousin. I grieve sometimes when people die that are close to me, if they could have prevented it. It's a grief of sadness, not so much, oh, I'm grieved that, you're just gone, but it's sadness because whatever took you out of here could have been prevented. Maybe you didn't take heed to some warnings to stay away from certain people or to eat different or exercise. There's a different type of grief of sadness there. Then there's the one that I had with my dad. Part of it was that too. Some of him, that took him out because he wouldn't listen. And so it was sad that you could have still been here and not put your family through those type of feelings and emotions because of choices that you made. But here's the kicker. That's their choice. It's their life if they want to go out like that. So I cannot cover every single variable. This is just the surface and just a general summary that if we realize, and once we realize that, like even my partner Dion, if he was to transition today, yes, I would know that it would be sad. Like, man, I would miss him. The love that we have is so divine, so unique, just so profound. But I also would have a knowing that he's somewhere. And when I transition, I could possibly be reunited with him, but it's not going to be to the point where I'm so devastated I can't function, I can't move on with purpose. Matter of fact, I would probably, propel in my purpose and my destiny and finish what we've started together. I would miss him dearly, but some of us have this doom and gloom, dark thought process when it comes to death and dying. Somebody was to die and somebody's dead, and this grief that we need to recondition and reprogram our mind because that's what's been put on us. And I remember in the last days of my dad, I remember seeing myself making phone calls to get him into this hospice, get him into this, get him into that. And he would just be sitting there looking at me, and he would say things like, Dorian, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I've made my peace. I'm ready to go. And he would just watch me like, this girl. He's his own man. He's here for his own path and his own journey. And if 71 or whatever age he died, if 72 years was all that was supposed to be for him, that's what it is. And we have to honor and accept that. And a lot of us grieve and when it comes to loved ones or friends and things like that, because we don't really know who we are outside of them. We don't know our purpose outside of them. And they were our purpose. Like, okay, great. You were taking care of your dad, Dorian, for those many years. I was still involved in my purpose. I was still writing books. I was still going and doing events and doing music. But imagine if he was my everything. That's why some of us, some of us have different grief processes, is because we made that person our life, and now that they're gone. And there were some times, even after he passed, where I would just reach to go to the pharmacy and start driving to CVS, and it's like, oh, he's not here. In a healthy way, if we would focus on a purpose and a destiny, and I believe that's why if Dion was to transition today, because I'm so full of purpose and destiny and on it every single day, and so is he, I know that's what he would want me to do. He would want me to continue this and not spend years and years and years lost and don't know what to do because I lost my dad, I lost my mom, I lost my this. And yes, it could be personality, because I'm a type of person that's like, okay, this happened. This is what we need to process, and we have to keep moving forward because there's greater purpose, there's greater destiny. And I know the truth that I don't belong to this person doesn't belong to me. I've heard people say that you're just borrowing that child, you're just a steward over that child. Each relationship is different. As a parent, I'm a parent, and losing a child is totally different from losing a parent, then losing a friend, losing a coworker, and then it also depends on the depth of that relationship. But one place to start is making sure that we are always involved in some kind of purpose and destiny for ourselves, and then realizing that we're all energy, all just passing through. We truly, really don't belong to each other. We are our own separate entity, person, energy person. Learn to be as independent as you can versus codependent. And whether you believe that they're sitting with Jesus, sitting in heaven, sitting in purgatory, reincarnated, the reality is they're gone. Like, they have chosen, they are gone. They are in a different reality, different realm. What are you going to do right now with your life? You still have a life here to live. Can't change it, and no matter how much we cry and grieve and go through whatever processes, that's not going to change. And I'm gonna go deep here, and some of us use that as a crutch. Let me get the sun up here. We use their death as a crutch and as an excuse to not have moved on. It's been 14 years and I'm still in this place because I lost my mom, I lost my this. And we use it as an excuse to keep us from evolving and from growing and taking responsibility for our present that we still have right now. And we also spend a lot of time trying to figure out, why did they die? Why did this happen? When we first can back up and start programming ourselves now to know that people are going to transition. People are going to leave. It is not up to us how it happens, when it happens. That's out of our control, as we can see with the C. Kirk situation, right? That happened, whatever, planned, it doesn't matter. It happened. But it would help us, like right now, it would help you, help me to understand that life happens. Even if you have to do that every day, life happens, people leave, people transition. It's a part of life. And sometimes it can happen in a way we don't expect. It can happen we have to grow and evolve spiritually to understand these things. And it will help with the healing process if you're ever faced with something like that. Again, this is just a summary. Let's see if we can get back to our regular. Let me get on this side. This is just a summary of my thoughts, just in general, on the surface, what and how I deal with grief, dying, and death.